From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. It is Friday, the 23rd of December, and we are a day away from Christmas Eve and 2 days away from Christmas. All right, so I know that you guys are probably going to be having some good little fun and everything like that and enjoying the holidays and, you know, unwrapping the gifts and seeing the smiles on all the kids' faces and all that stuff, like you know, like every Christmas. So let's go ahead and jump into what happened last night. And last night, the Jags get a big win over the Jets, 19-3, and find themselves a game out of the AFC South lead. I think this is the only way that they get into the playoffs is by winning the South. And they had themselves a great win last night. And I know they're getting excited down there in Jacksonville now because this team was at 1 point 2-7. Now they've worked themselves into being 6-8. So that is absolutely incredible. This team has won their last 4 out of 5 games, and they have actually have done it in a stylish fashion as well. You kind of saw it coming earlier in the season when they were at 1 point 2-1 in the lead in the AFC South. I know a lot of people got excited for them at that point, but they've won 3 in a row now, and they've been able to win these games in convincing fashion after coming up with a big win over Baltimore, where pretty much all started at. They were able to take that victory and kind of roll with it. They got blown out the next week when they went to Detroit, but then they were able to beat Tennessee by 14. Then they were able to come back against the Cowboys down 18, and then they also just dominated the Jets last night. And that was probably their most dominant win of the season, other than the 24-0 win that they had over Indianapolis earlier this season. And also the 38-10 win that they had over the Chargers. So this team is not far away from being a really, really good team. They did run into a cold streak at one point, but now they're playing their best. And I said they had just won 4. They've won 4 out of 5 since the bye, and they're 5-7 since losing those 5 in a row as well too. So this team is looking to keep things rolling. And last night was a very fun game for them in a sense because they were able to really be comfortable in their skin last night. Even though Trevor Lawrence was asked to do a lot last night, he went ahead and did that, and he did a decent job doing it as well too. He was able to throw for 229 yards. And then Travis Etienne was able to get 83 yards for him last night as well, too, to just keep that clock rolling last night. And that's exactly what happened. But when you look at the playoff picture today, you would say this. You got 2 7-8 teams now, and the team that owns the tiebreaker in that situation is the Jaguars. So the Jets have moved all the way down to number 6 now. And, you know, the Jets have went from being like a 5th seed, went from being the 6th now, and then we're the 7. Now they're the 6, and that was crazy because at one point you had all the AFC East teams in the group. So it's looking like it's shaping up pretty good now. I think that this final playoff spot does come down to the Dolphins and New England in all senses of the word. And now it looks like the division for the it looks like the South is going to come down to the final week of the season when it comes down to Tennessee and Jacksonville. And let's make sure they do not flex that game into Saturday night to Sunday Night Football either. None of us want to watch it. All right, so there it is. Good win for the Jags last night. They find themselves a little bit closer to a possible playoff berth, a possibly hosting a playoff game as well too. So that should be a lot of fun for Jacksonville, because I know that they did not have these expectations coming into the season. I thought they would be better, but they have played above and beyond of what I even assumed this year. All right, so let's move on to our next topic, and we don't have to be long here. Bragging rights last night. I just want to brag a little bit because I did give you guys this as a money line play as our CBB bet of the day, and I hope you guys saw it on the Twitter as well too. But this was a good win last night by the Tigers, who wound up winning this game last night, 93-71. And they looked good in St. Louis. That's all I can say, is that they looked really good in that game. And I know that a lot of people probably had given up on this team a little early, or just didn't give much of a shot last night because what happened in the Kansas game. But the Kansas game really did not matter. Kobe Brown had himself a game last night. He had 31 points last night. That was huge for this team. And he's a senior as well too, so that was big for him in this game as well too. He's having a career year this year, so everything just makes sense to have another career game there. So he had been struggling a little bit coming into the game, but he was able to take care of his business last night, and that's exactly what the doctor ordered, and he led in rebounds and assists last night too. So him and Terrence Shannon kind of had a little bit of a duel off, but this game was over by the half. Missouri was up 51-27 at that point, and they just didn't look back. And literally, they just kind of just took their time in the second half. They didn't have to do too much, and they wound up winning this game in convincing fashion last night. And they look like they could be somewhat of a danger in the SEC this year. So we'll see how it goes for old Missouri. But I just wanted to brag a little bit because I did give you guys that plus 225, and it was some easy money for all of us last night. So I hope you guys tailed it. Hope you guys went ahead and cast that bad boy out, and we move forward from there. So pretty much with that, let's go ahead and jump into our next spot, and that's going to be the Gasparilla Bowl, and then the Gasparilla Bowl that's going to be being played in the next few hours. And here's an update on the Independence Bowl right now. I was trying to get the Independence Bowl in, but I wasn't able to get the script together in time before that game. So we're looking at this right now. Lafayette is now up 16-13 over Houston, who is driving at this moment right now as well, too. 3rd and 5 on Lafayette's 31 as well. So we do have some action going on there in that game. Real good game going there. Lafayette did jump out to a 16-6 lead at the half. And, now the game is starting to kind of come into play a little bit. But just want to give you guys an update if you're not watching the game right now. But Gasparilla Bowl, let's go ahead and get into it. Gasparilla Bowl, the notes that I have for the Gasparilla Bowl go a little something like this. You got Wake Forest coming into the game. Wake Forest is 7-5. You have Mizzou, Missouri, 6-6. Missouri is a 2.5-point favorite with an over/under of 58.5. Wake Forest is 7-5 against the spread. Against the spread versus non-conference, they're 3-1. Against the spread is a favorite this year because they are a favorite coming into this game. They're 5-5, and straight up is a favorite. They're 6-4. And versus the non-conference, they're 4-0 this year. Now, when it comes down to the over and under in their 12 games, they've won under in 7 of these games. So, you got yourself a very, very, very even balanced team in Wake Forest, and they give you a lot of confidence coming in as the way that they've played against non-conference teams this year as well, too. So that's something that you do go ahead and you have to look into and say to yourself that this should be, a good spot for us. And this team did, but they did not look good at the end of the year, though. let's keep it real. They did lose their last 4 out of 5 games, but 2 of those games were against ranked teams as well, and against a Louisville team that was playing some of their best ball of the season. And Duke actually played above and beyond expectations this year. So, it just kind of makes sense. But they did have a really good record before they went on this little skid of 6-1. So I'm hoping that we get the team that played earlier in the year and not the team that played later in the year in this spot. Now, we do have Missouri coming in here 7-5 against the spread. They kind of salvaged their season a little bit because they did have a bad start to it. They're 5-2 against the spread as an underdog. That's very significant coming into this game, in my opinion. And then they're also 2-2 when it comes to the spread versus non-conference. Now, straight up as a dog, they're 2-5 versus the non-conference. Straight up, they're 3-1. And then in their 12 games this year, they went under in 8 of them. So they were able to win their last 2 games of the season by beating New Mexico State and beating their rival Arkansas. But other than that, those were like games that they could tip their cap on. They also got a good win over South Carolina before they went on a nice little run to end the year. So I truly do feel like this team does come in here with a little bit of a scare to them. But the last time they played against a team that was kind of the caliber of Wake Forest, they got beat 40-12, and that was by Kansas State. But we all know they're an SEC team. That's what we do have to factor in here as well. So this should be a good game, but I do lean towards Wake Forest in the spot to go ahead and get themselves a nice win here tonight in this spot and go ahead and send their great quarterback off with another great signature moment. That's Sam Hartman, a guy that if you guys want to know who he is, go watch QB1 on Netflix, and he was a star of one of the seasons that they did have. All right, so let's go ahead and move into our next game, which is going to be the Hawaii Bowl. And this is actually going to be tomorrow. It's the Christmas Eve Bowl. So we have Middle Tennessee State going against San Diego State today. And pretty much, and it's so hilarious that you got 2 teams that they're state schools, but they're not the capital. So it's hilarious. So pretty much you do have San Diego State coming into this game. Let's start with Middle Tennessee State. Middle Tennessee comes in here 5-6-1 against the spread. Then they're 4-4 against the spread and straight up as an underdog. And then when it comes down to the non-conference, they're actually 3-1 in that category, and that's straight up as well too, and against the spread. So pretty much when you look at the over/under, they've went over in 6 of their 12 games, but they did push in 1 of them. Now San Diego State comes in 5-7 against the spread. They are actually 2-4 against the spread as a favorite. And then versus non-conference this year, they're 1-3 against the spread. Now, straight up as a favorite in their 6 games, they're 5-1. Now, in non-conference, they're 2-2 straight up. And when it comes to the over-under in their 12 games, of course, San Diego State is always notorious for having a lot of games go under, and that's exactly what happened to this year. They went under in 7 of those games that they played this year out of 12. So when you look at this one, this is another game where you say, okay, I'm going to try to trust San Diego State because on paper they look much better than Middle Tennessee State. But Middle Tennessee State was a team that got it together later on in the year. And maybe you might look at this and say to yourself, this could be the time. This could be a very good way for them to go out this season. They won their last 4 out of 5, including 3 in a row to close out the season. San Diego State played much better football as we went along because they did have a kind of a rough start to the year where they started off 3-3, but then they were also able to win their last 4 out of 6 on the year. Actually, their last 5 out of 7. So pretty much that's their last 4 out of 6 after they went 3-3. So pretty much this team, they have went through the fire. They had won 3 in a row. Then they had to play Air Force and actually lost to Air Force by 10. But that's not too bad because Air Force got a great win yesterday in their ball game. So, that's a good quality loss in a sense. And they were so good right before that game. So I feel like if they can play the same type of defense that they usually play, and then they're able to get off on offense, they should be able to win this game tomorrow. But being a 6-point favorite in this game, that's kind of risque business. But I do understand why, because a lot of bettors will gravitate towards the Aztecs in this spot. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to go ahead and jump into the state of the Lakers, NBA Friday night. And then after that, we will be talking those tickets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the PrimeTime Angles Live, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Cappers.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into the state of the Lakers. And the Lakers have themselves a pretty good game tonight, but let's talk about AD first. AD is going to be there's some conflicting reports right now. AD is set to sit out another 7 to 10 days, no basketball activities. And he pretty much right now, what they're saying is that AD is actually probably going to come back within the next few weeks or so. He doesn't have any pain in the foot that was exasperated in a sense, but he's still not ready to play yet. They're saying right now that they feel it's a fracture in his foot, a small stress fracture, which really needs rest, if anything, but to avoid the surgery. So he's probably going to be out for, I would say, I'm going to give him a month. I think that he'll be back around right before All-Star break. So, the Lakers do have to prepare themselves for life without AD, but when has that not been the case? But it just goes to show you how much the Lakers are not, really finding guys to be those sufficient backups as well, too. But it's all good. This is what happens when you're cash strapped. So it is what it is at the end of the day. So pretty much, let's go ahead and jump into I got some notes for you guys. And tonight we do have the Lakers playing against the Hornets, which looks like a square for them, but the Hornets are coming off of a good win the other night, beating Sacramento 125. Well, actually, they beat Sacramento 125 to 119. They came back around a few days later or the night later, and they wound up losing to the Clippers by 21. So, the tale of two cities for the tale of two teams for this team, but they're absolutely awful right now. That's no cap. That's no diss. This team is 8-24 on the season. There's a lot of things not going the Hornets way. They're bottom. They're at the bottom of their division. They're at the bottom of their conference as well. Just things aren't looking good. Well, actually, Detroit's at the bottom of the conference, but they're kind of sharing the spot with them. But let's go ahead. Here goes my notes on the game tonight. What I have here, we have a Hornets team that's 2-9 in the month of December. As I said, they lost their last game to the Clippers, 126-105. This team is 4-13 on the road. They're 5-20 as an underdog. They're also 4-7 versus the West. They're 14-17-1 against the spread this year. They're 9-7-1 against the spread on the road. As an underdog, they're 11-13-1. Versus the West, they're 6-5 against the spread. So that's something that you do need to notate. And then they have went over in 17 of their 32 games this year. And on the road, they've played 17 games. They've went over in 12. So the Lakers come in here. We're playing really good basketball to start the month off, but they've kind of faltered off a little bit. They're 5-6 here in the month of December. They've lost the last 2 games in a row, including losing to the Kings the other night, 134-120. And in both of those losses, the Lakers gave up 130 or better. So they're pretty much giving up 132 a game in those last 2. The Lakers need to clean that up big time. Also, the Lakers are 8-7 at home. They're 6-3 straight up as a favorite. And versus the Eastern Conference straight up, they're 6-6. Now, the Lakers against the spread, they are a ticket burner. They're 12-19 this year, one of the worst in the NBA. Now, against the spread at home, they're 7-8. Against the spread as a favorite, they're 5-4. Versus the East, not so good. 5-7 against the spread. Now, over under, they're one of the higher teams when it comes to overs this year. In 31 games, they've won over 18 times. And at home, they've won over 8 times in their 15 games. So what I look at tonight is I think that the Lakers have a game that they can win, but the Lakers should not look at it that way. They have to go about this game as if Charlotte is a top 10 contender and not just a lowly team right now that's really over here just preparing themselves for the top half of the draft. You know what I mean? So the Lakers have to put their game face on tonight, and they're going to have to get this one. They're going to have to get this one together. They're going to play some really good basketball, in my opinion. So we'll see how this one goes. We'll see how it shakes out, but it should be a good game tonight. And I do look to the Lakers to go ahead and get a good win here. And possibly you guys can play the over, but I wouldn't chase it. You know what I mean? I think that you can go on reverse tonight and actually play the under. As I said before, you got an over. That's a 242.5. That's going to be a hard number to hit, but they're saying this because the Lakers are giving up 130 or better, and the Hornets aren't any better. They gave up 119 in a win, and then they gave up 126 the last time they played. So, yeah, we'll have to see how it goes, but pretty much there it is, and we move forward to talk about the NBA Friday night. Tonight we got 14 games in the NBA, and you know me, we got 5 of them to talk about that I feel are the best 5 games to go ahead and get some action on, and to go ahead and we are put a great ticket together on. So here we are first. We got the Clippers and the 76ers. The Clippers coming in here 19-14. You have the 76ers who are 18-12. You also have the spread being 3.5 to the Sixers tonight as the favorite. And then they also have the over-under at 214.5. So pretty much what I'm looking at here in my notes today is this. You have a Clippers team that's 6-4 in December. Then they've won 5 out of their last 6, including their last 2 games in a row. And as I said before, I keep talking about it, but they did beat the Hornets last time out. And they are 8-7 against the spread and straight up on the road. And then also they're 4-8 as an underdog this year. So that's not too good for the Clippers coming into this game. But this is good for the Clippers. They're 8-3 versus the East. Now against the spread, they're 17-16 as an underdog against the spread. They're 6-6 versus the East with the spread. They're 7-4. Now when it comes to over and under, they are the total opposite of the Lakers. They've won under into 21 of their 33 games. And on the road, they've went over in 9 of their 15 road games. So the Clippers, it's a tale of two teams right here. It seems like they run into a lot of unders at home, but they're getting a lot of overs on the road. So you have the 76ers who come in here red hot, 6-2 in the month of December. They've won the last 6 in a row. They're 13-5 at home. They're 13-6 as a favorite this year. Versus the West, they're 5-4. And against the spread, they're actually 17-12-1. Now, when it comes down to the spread at home, they're 12-5-1. And as a favorite against the spread, they're 11-7-1. Now, versus the West against the spread, they're 6-3. Now, when it comes down to the over-under in their 30 games, they've went under 15 times. They've went over 15 times. So they're dead even. And when it comes to over-under at home in their 18 games, they've went under 10 in 10 of those games. So what I see tonight is a very good defensive game, in my opinion. But I truly do feel like this game does wind up actually hitting the over tonight. It's a 214.5. And I think with this game coming on TV tonight as well, too, that should give us a bit. Well, no, it's not coming on ESPN. It's not an ESPN game, y'all. Sorry. The ESPN game is going to be I think they're only having one tonight. That's going to be the Grizzlies and the Suns, from what I'm seeing here. I'm trying to figure out what's the other one for you guys, but that's not it. Yeah, I think that they only got one ESPN game tonight because they do got a college football game at 4:00. So that's what we have there. 19 and 14 going against 18 and 12. So we'll see how it goes. Two of the better teams in the NBA. You know, I had to highlight it, and it is what it is. We move forward from there. We got two of the best teams in the East going at it. We got the Bucks, who find themselves atop of the East right now, and then you see the Nets, who are in the top four right now as well too. So this is a possible preview to a playoff series somewhere down the road. But right now, it's all about tonight. We all know the Bucks did beat the Nets 110-109 earlier in the season, early in the year. Probably, I think it was the first night of the season to be exact. The Bucks have been absolutely tremendous this month. They have messed around. They're 7-4 right now in the month of December. And they just lost to the Cavs, though, 114-106. They're 8-6 on the road straight up. They're 2-3 against the spread and straight up as an underdog. They were underdog in the Cavs game the other night as well, too. Then versus the Eastern Conference, they're 11-5 against the spread. They're 17-12-2. And then against the spread on the road, they're 5-7-2. And then with the spread versus the East, they're 8-7-1. In 31 games, they've won over 16 times. And when it comes down to the road, in those 14 games, they've went under in 9 of those games. So the Bucks come in here cool and confident, looking to go ahead and try to get that second win of the year over the Nets. The Nets come in here very good. They're 8-1 right now in the month of December. They've won their last 7 games in a row as well, too, after starting the month 1-1. And pretty much they have found themselves looking really, really good at this point at home this year, 11-5. They really shook it off because they were playing really bad basketball to start the year. It doesn't even matter anymore because as you can see, their record is 20-12. This team started off 2-7. Now, as you can see, they're 18-5 since that stretch, and that's because they got a coach that knows exactly what he's doing. Shout out to Jack Vaughn. All right, so they're 11-3 as a home favorite this year, and then they're 16-6 as the favorite this year. Now, against the East, they're 15-6, and against the spread, they're 15-16-1. Now, when it comes down to being the spread at home, they're 6-9-1, and against the spread as a home fave, they're 10-11-1 this year, and pretty much no, that's as a favorite in general. I'm sorry, just as a favorite. Not as a home fave, but as a favorite. Now, against the East, they're 9-11-1 against the spread. And when it comes down to the over-under with the 31 games that they played, they went under in 17 of them. And at home with the over-under, they went under in 9 of those 15 games. And versus the West, in those 10 games, they've actually went over 6 times. So this one right here, to me, calls for a very good matchup tonight. I think that's exactly what happens here. I think we just run into two teams that are just playing their best basketball at the right time. Even though the Bucks are not streaking like the Nets, it's still going to be a good game. It's a toss-up. That's what the spread's telling you. So that's why I say I'm just going to stick to the scoreboard tonight. I like the under to be hit tonight in this spot. So there it is. There it is. We move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into the next game, which is going to be the Pacers and the Heat. The Pacers coming into this game 16-16. The Heat are 16-16. The Heat are a 6.5-point favorite. Over under 223.5. And these teams are split in their season series this year as well, too. The Pacers are 4-7 in December. They won their last game in Boston, 117-112. They were a 10-point dog in that game as well, too. I know because I had Boston like an idiot, and they went ahead and lost that game. And Boston had lost 2 in a row before they got to the Pacers, and the Pacers keep their losing streak going as well, too. And heads up for all Boston bettors tonight, they've lost their last 5 out of 6. Now, let me stick to the Pacers. They're 7-9 on the road. They're 9-13 as an underdog. As a road dog, they're 5-8. Versus the East, they're 11-8. Now, against the spread, they're 18-14. And on the road, they're 9-7 against the spread. As an underdog against the spread, they're 12-10. As a road dog against the spread, they're 7-6 against the spread. Versus the Eastern Conference, they're 12-7. Now, when it comes down to the over and under, they've went under in 17 of their 32 games. And when it comes down to the over under versus the Eastern Conference this year, in 16 games, they've went under 10 times. So they have that. And, Halliburton had himself a game the other night. He did drop 33 on the Celtics the other night. So he's probably going to be somebody that a lot of people will want to put their little points props on tonight. We got the Heat coming in here 6-4 in the month of December. They lost their last game, though, 113-103. But that also ended a 4-game winning streak as well, too, for the Heat, who had just really started to go off this month as well, too. You have this team 9-7 at home, straight up. They're 14-9 as a favorite, straight up. 9-6 as a home favorite, straight up. 8-10 versus the East, straight up. And then against the spread, they're 10-20-2. It happens, you win games, but you don't cover spreads. So that's really what Miami is a team that you bet to win the game, but not cover the spread. They're 3-12-1 against the spread at home, and then they're 6-15-2 against the spread as a favorite, and then they're 3-11-1 against the spread as a home fave. Then when it comes down to the spread versus the Eastern Conference, they're 4-9-1. Also, when it pertains to over-under in their 32 games, they've went under 16 times. They've went over 16 times. So they're dead even. And when it comes to home games, they've had 16. So they've went over in 10 of those 16 home games. Tonight, I think that he could possibly pull off a close win, but this Pacers team is coming in here very confident tonight. I like the way this is setting up. I'm going to go ahead and take the Pacers with the +6.5 tonight. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. All right, we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into the Nuggets and the Blazers. And this game is actually going to be in Denver tonight, so don't get it twisted on how the picture looks. The Blazers are 17-15 coming into the game. The Nuggets are 19-11 and vying for the top seed in the West right now. I know that they're feeling themselves a little bit because, they're in a position that they haven't been in a long time. But they own the tiebreaker somewhat with Memphis. That was a big win that they got the other night. They're dead like that 19-11, both teams. So that's looking really good. And then you got this Portland team that's actually the 8th seed right now. Their season series is tied at 1 as well, too. Blazers coming to this 6-4 in the month of December. They've lost their last 2 games in a row, which were both back-to-backs in OKC, losing the first night 123-121, and then losing the next night 101-98. So there was that's some irony there for that one. And then you have a 10-9 record on the road, and also you have a 9-10 record as the underdog, and then they're 4-4 straight up versus the Northwest. Now against the spread, they're 20-12, one of the best marks in the league. 12-7 against the spread on the road, 13-6 against the spread as an underdog, and they're 5-3 against the spread versus the Northwest. Now in their 32 games, they've went under 15 times, they've went over 15 times, and they pushed twice. And when it comes down to the over and under on the road, they've had 19 games. They went under in 11 of them. So the Blazers are looking to run another upset tonight. That's all they've been doing all season is running those upsets. But tonight they're going to have to really buckle down because the Nuggets are playing really good basketball at home right now. The notes that I have on the Nuggets, they're 5-4 in the month of December. They've won their last 2 games in a row, including that big win over the Grizzlies, 105-91 the other night. And then you have them 10-3 at home straight up, 16-8 as a favorite, and they're 6-2 versus the Northwest. Now, when it comes down to the spread, they're 13-17. They're 7-6 against the spread at home, 10-14 against the spread as a favorite, 10-12 against it. No, it's not 10-12. Sorry. Let me get that correct number for you because I don't know how I got 10-12 versus the Northwest. I think that's more about the spread versus the non-conference, non-division opponents. So let me get that for you guys. They're actually 3-5 against the spread versus their division. So just want to make sure we have the right numbers for you guys. So it's 3-5 against the division against the spread. All right. So they're in their 30 games, they've went under 16 times. And then in their 13 home games, they've went under 9 times in those games. So the Nuggets got a tendency to go under in their games, and they got a tendency to win at home as well, too. So I like them a lot going into this game tonight. And I think that they actually win this game by 6 or better. I think they win this one by double digits. And this is and that's me really calling the Babe Ruth shot because we all know that the Blazers have been really good this year. So let's go ahead, see what we can get. And I like the 4.5 on the Nuggets tonight. The team with the team looking like they can be, something to be proud about in the city of Denver if they are able to get that 1 seed. Now, let's go ahead, jump on the Grizzlies Suns game, which possibly is the game of the night. And we have the Grizzlies coming in here at 19-11. The Suns are 19-13 coming into the game. I know it's going to be Ja versus CP3 tonight, so that's going to be a big hyped up situation as well too. You have a Grizzlies team that's 7-2 in the month of December. They've lost their last 2 games, and as I said, that last loss did come to the Nuggets in Denver. So they take their lowly road record of 6-9 into Phoenix tonight, but they're the favorite here, and they're 18-6 as a favorite. Now, as a road favorite, they're 6-5. Versus the West this year, they're split at 8-8. Now, when it comes down to the spread, they're 14-14-2, and the spread on the road, they're 3-11-1, and the spread as a road fave, they're 3-7-1. Now, when it comes down to the spread versus the conference versus the West, they're 5-10-1. Now, in their 30 games, they've went under 15 times. So, and they've went over 14, and they pushed once. Now, on the road, they've had 15 games. They've went under in 8 of them. Phoenix comes in here 4-7 in December. They lost their last game against a Washington team that came in losing, I think, who lost the last 10 in a row and lost to them by 3 the other night. But that's coming off of a 3-game winning streak as well, too. They're 14-4 at home. They're 2-3 as an underdog this season, but they're 1-0 as a home dog this year. Now, versus the West, they're 16-8, and against the spread, they're 17-5. Now, at home against the spread, they're 11-7. As an underdog against the spread, they're 3-2, and against the spread versus the West, they're 14-10. Now, when it comes down to over/under, they've went under in 16 out of their 32 games. They've went over in 15 and pushed in 1. And when they played 18 home games, they've went under in 10 of them. What I'm doing here is I'm going to go ahead and say Phoenix stays undefeated at home, and that's what I'm going to do. Undefeated at home as a dog. So that's where I'm going because this team is already batting 100. Let's go ahead and see if they can just keep it rolling for us. So that's where I'm going with that one, and that's what we're going to do. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and take another quick commercial break, and when I get back, we'll jump into Talking Tickets. So stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Night Quiz. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right. Okay, quick news too, real quick. Miles Austin has been suspended for a year for violating the NFL's gambling policy, and Pete Rose got kicked out of baseball forever for gambling on the sport. So, yeah, I don't know. As I keep saying, it's starting to be. It's a real conflict of interest with sports books being sponsors for pro leagues. Like seriously, like come on, guys, like. We all are happy that you guys voted to make sports betting more legitimate, things like that. But don't ruin the integrity of sports. Just don't. You know what I mean? And it's just, it's. I'll talk about it more and more next week. But that's not good. Now I've already said that it can be a conflict of interest, and here we go. This is the second or third case that we've had with the NFL and people gambling that work for the NFL, gambling on the NFL, knowing that they're not supposed to be doing that. So. Let's go ahead, jump into the Gasparilla Bowl bets. We got Wake Forest with the 2.5 today. Wake Forest money line first half minus 130. That's the first half for y'all, okay? And the over 13 first quarter, okay? Now we go ahead and we got ourselves the Hawaii Bowl bets, and I'm taking the over 47.5 here. The 3.5 with San Diego State first half, and the plus and the half a point for Middle Tennessee State. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the primetime pick 4. I was trying to make it the pick 6, but it winds up being a pick 4. We got Kennesaw State plus 19. They're playing at Indiana tonight. We got SMU in the Diamond Head Classic with the plus 12. Pepperdine's in the Diamond Head Classic as well, too. We have them with the money line tonight. And then we finish up with the host Hawaii with the plus 135. Tonight. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. That's a 13-1 ticket. Now we finish up with the NBA Super High 5 over 214.5 with the Clippers and 76ers, the under 229.5 with the Bucks and the Nets, the plus 6.5 with the Pacers, and the minus 4.5 with the Nuggets, and the Suns money line tonight with the plus 125. NBA Super High 5 is 29-1 tonight. You guys can go ahead and put 20 on it and wind up getting your 580, and the 20 will go ahead and set you up for the 600 that you want tonight. So, you know, you guys can make some good money tonight. If you guys put 50 on this bad boy, you can get back $1,450 on it, and that's a $1,500 situation. So, you know, if you guys want to go ahead and get some money, let's see if you can get some money. So there it is. 29-1 on the NBA Super High 5 tonight. So I won't be seeing you guys until Monday. We'll see, though. Man, Monday might not be a big sports day because we got so much going on Sunday. They might want to make sure everybody's shopping on Monday. So I'll let you guys know Monday morning if it's going to be a show or not, but I'll be definitely back Tuesday for sure. And I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. And also, I know we're getting close to the end of the year and the holidays and everything like that. I just want to wish you guys a happy holiday and all that good stuff. Merry Christmas, and make sure that you guys spend a lot of time with your family, love on your family, do what you got to do. Don't hold any grudges, and, just keep living life, man, and just be blessed that we get to see another day. You know what I mean? And another Christmas and another New Year's. Just make sure you make it to the day. You know what I mean? So there it is. There it is. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the PrimeTime Angles Live, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. And just once again, happy holidays to everybody. As I always say, there is no me without you. As keep the movement moving and bet with your head, not with your heart. And we are out of here. So bye-bye. And once again, Merry Christmas to you. And all you guys make sure you good to Santa, all right? Get Santa his cookies, okay? So I'm out of here, man. And you guys enjoy your weekend. We are out. Gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.